Hello and welcome to Business Africa. My name is Ronald Kato. Coming up on this episode, Uganda prepares to take on coffee powerhouses Brazil and Vietnam. The country has launched a campaign to grow its coffee exports fivefold by 2025. But could a new law on growing the crop scuttle the target? Also coming up, South Africa is under pressure from climate activists to decarbonize its energy supply. The country relies on coal-fired power plants to generate much of its electricity. But this too isn't enough, with blackouts jolting the economy's ability to recover from a recession. And we take you to Morocco, where GDP figures for 2021 are looking good. The kingdom's central bank says the economy will grow 6.2% this year after contracting 7% in 2020. The details coming up shortly. So it is coffee time in Uganda. After falling short, the East African country has relaunched an ambitious campaign to become the world's third largest exporter of coffee by 2025. After shipping nearly 6 million bags in 2020, Africa's largest coffee exporter says it can be done. A new law which will register all coffee farmers and enforce standards, plus the replacement of old trees with new ones, are part of the measures to achieve the goal. More now in the following report.
Uganda is Africa's largest coffee exporter, but its leaders say they want more. Under its National Development Plan 2, the East African nation has relaunched a campaign to export 20 million 60 kilo bags of coffee by 2025, an ambitious target considering productivity per tree remains low. First launched in 2014, the drive missed the target by several million bags. In 2020, the country exported over 5,492,000 bags, fetching $515.94 million in foreign exchange, according to Uganda Coffee Development Authority, UCDA. The UCDA is the country's agency mandated to control and market the crop. Uganda, which mostly exports Robusta beans, has seen an increase in production driven by new planted coffee trees and favorable weather in the past years. Current production is estimated at 7 million bags, but experts' reliance on old methods of growing the crop, analysts say, may likely scuttle the government's target again. Kampala recently enacted the controversial Coffee Act. The law, which calls for the registration of farmers and sanctions for poor standards, has been criticized by some as unnecessary. Coffee is Uganda's main cash crop. It accounts for 13 to 15% of total export earnings.
So before I bring in my guest, let's take a look at the export figures for 2020, just so you know how ambitious Uganda's target is. Here is the export report for last year. Brazil leading the pack with 40 million bags, and then Vietnam coming a distant second with 26.4 million bags, 14 million less than Brazil. And in third place is Colombia with 12.7 million bags. Uganda, which ranked 6th last year, seeks to enter the top 3 by displacing Colombia. My guest is Mr. Apollo Kamjisha. He's the acting managing director at the Uganda Coffee Development Authority. He joins me from Kampala, Uganda. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Uganda literally wants to become a Brazil or Vietnam of sorts. What is going to be done differently to achieve this goal?
In the early 1990s, before the coffee subsector of Uganda was hit by coffee wilt disease, which destroyed over 50% of Robusta coffee trees, Uganda used it to be number 3 in global coffee exports. So we were overtaken by Vietnam and Colombia during our period of heavy infestations when we lost the Robusta coffee trees through coffee wilt disease. We are now recovering during this last coffee year, and now we have moved from number 10 to number 7 globally, and it is doable, and I think we shall reach there.
Mr. Kamjisha, Uganda mostly exports raw beans, which fetch less value. What is being done to ensure more processing happens at home?
We are engaging with our traditional coffee consumers We have a program for Uganda coffee roasters to link up with the British, UK-based coffee roasters, so that in Uganda, the roasters here gain the capability, and there is transfer of technology from UK to here, so that the roasters here have the capacity to roast good coffee and the output is right. We are profiling, for that purpose, we are profiling the coffees from the coffee roasters so that they are benchmarked with the roasters in the UK and other countries that we are going to engage with, so that we benchmark and align our roasting systems, roasting protocols to their roasting protocols, so that even if we send value-added roasted coffee from here, it would not be rejected, it would be accepted by the market, in the other consuming countries, thereby we get value for our coffee and for our people here.
Talk to us about the coffee law, Mr. Kamjisha. It's been criticized by some as one seeking to solve a problem that does not exist. How does it help the country achieve this target?
The current coffee law basically is to refocus and energize the coffee stakeholders, all of them, all value chain actors. Because the previous coffee law of 1991, that law started at the marketing level and left out the critical elements of coffee as a product. So the purpose of the law is to know everybody, and once the government and the authority knows everybody, we plan better and support the value chain stakeholders better. It is not for enforcing regulations, it is not for commanding, but it is to know who is in which position in the coffee subsector, and we help them to do their business better.
Thank you very much, Apollo, for your time.
You are welcome. Thank you and good day.
Now, South Africa's government is under pressure to clean up its energy supply. The country relies on coal-fired power plants to generate electricity, making it one of the world's top polluters. Pretoria says it needs coal to power its faltering economy as green alternatives remain pricey.
South Africa is under pressure to decarbonize its energy infrastructure, even though it is struggling to generate enough for its population. Like many developing countries, South Africa is struggling to meet growing energy needs, yet avoid deepening Earth's carbon crisis. This is one of the many problems affecting the UN climate talks, which resumes in Glasgow on October 31. Blackouts are commonplace and have gotten worse since 2017, hitting an economy that has been in and out of recession for 4 years. As a coal producer, South Africa also needs to keep the power plant running in order to save the jobs of 500,000 people employed in the mines. Enjoying 2,500 hours of sunshine per year, South Africa has been criticized for not aggressively embracing solar power. For many African countries, clean energy remains too pricey. That is why many, including the continent's most industrialized economy, are keeping, not discarding coal in their energy plants.
So the figures are in for Morocco and are looking good. After contracting 7% in 2020, the North African country's economy is expected to grow 6.2% this year. The kingdom's recovery has been aided in part by a robust vaccination campaign, which saw it reopen the economy faster than the rest of Africa. This report now by Michael Dwall and Patricia Ndair.
Morocco is betting on a rebound of its economic growth of positive 6.2% in 2021, thanks to its vaccination campaign and a good agricultural harvest after a 7% contraction in 2020 due to the pandemic, according to its central bank. Bank Al-Maghrib forecast GDP growth to slow to 3% in 2022, according to its latest analysis published Wednesday. For its part, The Centre Marocain de Conjecture, also known as CMC, a private observatory, predicts a growth rate of 7.1% for 2021 and around 4.1% for 2022 in an annual bulletin published on Wednesday. The kingdom's recovery has been aided in part by a robust vaccination program, which saw it reopen the economy faster than the rest of Africa. Morocco began welcoming tourists in June after waiving most of the restrictions for vaccinated people. The country, along with its new government, has adopted the so-called New Development Model, a 15-year plan to guide its economic priorities.
And that report from Morocco wraps up this edition of Business Africa. My name is Ronald Kato. Follow me on Twitter at Ronnie Kulabako. The news is next on Africanews and at africanews.com. Bye for now, and I'll see you on the next episode of Business Africa.